All right, good morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Appointed Directors Meeting for June 11th, 2024. It's 11:19 a.m. I'm not going to go through everybody because I would take up half this meeting. We have the full Board of County Commissioners, county managers, assistant county managers, and we're going to go through our different department directors as we go. So let's just jump into it because we're getting a little bit of a late start. Open forum. Obviously, any specific issues or questions you're welcome to bring up, but we just get a brief report from each of the groups and start with public health to my right. Dr. Freiheit.
Thank you. This is my first meeting, so I'm not really sure what to report out on, but we have lots of
Hot topics in your department, 5 minutes or so, and then people hit questions.
Yeah, Jen, it's just a high-level overview.
High level.
Things you want to make folks aware of.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start over with CPED. Experienced Mr. Cummings set the standard.
Set me up for success. So first off, I wanted to say, don't forget the fair is just around the corner. So July 1st through August 4th, Wednesday to Sunday, and then pancake breakfast. July 1st. Sorry. Let me get back to my dates. July 31st.
Okay.
It's a really long fair this year.
Yeah.
See, that's how experienced it is, Jen. July 31st through August 4th, pancake breakfast.
Let's start with IT.
I'm sitting here making notes. So that's a big deal. Make sure you head out to the fair. We have, as most of you know, a new fair manager. And I wanted to say we are going through a process of federal funds for the fair. And my appreciation to Commissioner Mejia and her staff. Usually it takes 2 to 3 Congresses, which can be 4 to 6 years before something gets legs for federal funding. And we don't know how much we're going to get, but we've been informed that we're at least moving through the process to have the U.S. Congress review it in their subcommittees. So big deal for the fair and the potential TCF saves. That's Thurston County Fairgrounds Shelter and Vaccination Emergency Site. So many of you may remember that during COVID, the fairgrounds is one of the 2 emergency places for vaccinations in partnership with Public Health and Emergency Services. So we used that as a potential request for funding through the federal government, and it's moving through. So thank you for that. And then also appreciate the heads up on the potential state funding as well. So Mr. Gelder is helping us through that process, and so appreciate the work on that. It just gets everything off to the right foot for our new fair manager, and really the support that we can provide that person so that they're successful in their role of bringing the fair back is going to be, I think, really useful. So thank you. The other thing I'd say is there's more to come, but we'll be engaging the county manager on the discussion about the emergency ban on the discharge of fireworks, working with Ben Miller-Todd, Director Ben Miller-Todd, on that topic. There's more to come. We still need to have input from the local fire groups, but just be prepared that we'll have that annual conversation. And then following on, when you return from recess, we'll have a conversation potentially about the burn ban and future codes and ordinances that the board can consider in terms of how we address those 2 topics going forward. And then just the standard stuff, HCP, the Habitat Conservation Plan, is working well. Thank you to Maria and your team on the Natural Resource Conservation Program Manager position moving forward. Having that position in place is going to be useful in terms of grabbing grants and mitigation lands. And then our community planning group continues to do Thurston 2045 outreach. The board and staff will receive a thank you note. Some folks have posted the outreach events on your Facebook and social media. That is exactly the stuff that we need your assistance in getting the word out and making sure that the community is participating in what the vision for land use looks like going forward in our county. CPED.
I guess, Josh, do you want to give our 2 new commissioners a kind of like a heads up about the fireworks ban, kind of the
How much fun it is.
Yeah.
the after effects of like public comment and all of just.
Yeah, it's an annual exercise in ensuring that we are listening, but no one is ever satisfied with whatever the Board of County Commissioners and the county manager and the directors recommend. The ban, so the scope is very limited. We can't ban the sale per RCW, but we can't ban the sale of approved fireworks from tribal groups and other places, but within Thurston County, if in terms of high fire danger, extreme fire danger, we, the Board of County Commissioners and the county manager, can make the decision to ban the discharge of consumer fireworks, which in effect shuts down the sale. And it's got to be done this year. It's by June 27th. The decision needs to be made. It's a couple of days before the actual sales start. But what we found is we've had public hearings on this before, and the comments are emotional and energized from all perspectives. There is a perspective that the fireworks initiate PTSD and dogs barking and all sorts of frustrations in that manner. And then on the other side, there's the concern that this is taking away a freedom. And so what a previous board decided to write in code is that we can consider it upon extreme fire danger. And that is essentially the parameters that the board has set for the county manager and the directors to consider whether or not the ban on the discharge is enacted. Secondly, moving away from fireworks to the burn ban, and Ben, jump in anytime, because I know it's an ongoing topic, and we have a briefing set up on this, but just real briefly, since the commissioner asked. Orca administers a burn ban that is set in date at, help me, June.
Relative dates, mid-June through end of September.
Our Thurston County Commissioners made the decision to not tie the Thurston County Fire Safety Burn Ban to a specific date, because what we found is sometimes on that date, it's raining. And the Commissioner's office and folks get lots of calls from the community saying, why are we in a burn ban if it's raining right now? Where's the logic in this? And the logic from others' perspective is that it's consistency, so that the community knows when the burn ban goes into effect. But the logic that the Board of County Commissioners provided was that this should be a fire safety issue related to the actual fire safety risk. And so that conversation is ongoing within the fire safety community. But again, we'll have a briefing on that. But those are the two big items that kind of come around this time of year every year. And as we see the weather start to become different than what has been experienced in the past, those conversations I think will continue to be important.
Okay, Commissioner.
I guess I just want to follow up on that. One of the major things is the nonprofits that utilize fireworks sales to fund their activities. That's a big piece of when we stop it, because we can't stop tribal activities at all. We seem to be able to put a stop to good causes.
Every jurisdiction that doesn't have a permanent ban has to do that exercise every year, and so I understand that. But like, my understanding is also that you can't ban it the same year, right? So, but you're telling me that the county's got a different ordinance in place. I was always told, like, well, we can have a talk about fireworks bans, but if we do the ban, it can't be enacted until 12 months later. So
two different things.
So like, it was always kind of an easy way to stave off the discussion. Like, well, it's not relevant to this year. And
so what I was referencing was the emergency ban on the discharge of fireworks.
Okay.
And that can be done in the same year, 3 days previous to the beginning of the sale of fireworks. Changing the code to ban all fireworks in the county, that's what takes a year to go into effect.
Okay.
So those are two different things, but related, obviously, fireworks.
thank you.
Can you talk about the burn ban real quick? Just what Orca's authority is, and then what the cities versus the county, like where does Orca decide versus we decide versus City of Olympia decides? How does that all fit together?
I think that will be a good conversation to have during the briefing, because I think that it's not 100% clear.
Okay.
The air quality discussion is different than the fire safety discussion.
And that's a conversation that we've had with Orca, and I think, again, that would be a good conversation to have with them at the table.
And that's where, as new county manager, as I think there was an email that was sent, Josh came by and said, that one's a bit hot, no pun intended, but that one, there's a lot of community engagement around that, so they're taking some time to put some things together, which I think will be helpful for the two new commissioners as well, maybe for the entire board, just so that we're all on the same page. I appreciate the time you're taking to do that for me.
Thank you, CPED, IT.
Sherry Ilg, IT Director. So we are continuing on our VLAN network segmentation for purposes of security. That is separating everybody's VLAN. It's a virtual LAN to keep assessors away from auditors and that kind of stuff. It helps to prevent overlapping security issues. That should be finalized in the next couple of months. We started it when we moved in this building. So that's kind of an exciting thing for security purposes. We've kicked off the Secretary of State cybersecurity audit. More information about that is coming, but it's going to probably start between elections, since that's the safest time. The ADAMS replacement, which is the Sheriff's Jail Management and Records Management System. The kickoff for implementation is gonna be November 1st. We're doing that with a consortium of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Tenino, and Yelm. And it's been a long time through their RFP process, and their contract negotiations are happening now, but the kickoff for implementation should be November 1st. I mean, it's probably a 2-year project easily, but it's kind of exciting. We're finally making some progress on that. We're gearing up for the assessor treasurer CAMA system replacement RFP. We're hoping to have that RFP out on the streets by the end of this year. That's the goal. Now I'm going to talk about the exciting stuff. The permit tracking system is delayed a little bit more, mostly due to the number of changes being identified as they're working through user acceptance testing, and a shortage of the vendor staffing shortage is causing more of a delay. The good news is they're not charging us extra money for the delay that's happening for them, and actually it doesn't hurt our feelings I want to get it replaced. I really do. I want Amanda to be replaced as soon as possible, but with the ERP, the TC Connect project taking a little bit of extra effort, it's probably okay that it's a little bit delayed. The TC Connect project, we're moving forward. The soft go live, which allows employees to do their time entry, should be right around the 24th or 25th of this month. Our actual go live is July 1st. It is a very painful time in this project, and it's not going to be easy for the employees that have to use it, and we know that, and we're trying our best to help them with that. Training, we're scheduling training now. I think recruitment training is already happening. Training is happening currently. And IT is working on the post go live support plan. So far, I think we're gonna set up some sort of war room so that in the first couple weeks after go live, if people have questions, process questions, which I anticipate most of the calls will be, then we'll have a place to direct everyone. Go ahead.
Sherry, just to piggyback off what you're commenting, the TC Connect project is a backbone system that touches most of what all of us and the departments do. And so what I have learned over the last several weeks is that there are a number of staff, key staff in each department that are spending a lot of time on this project. And so it is akin to them having 2 jobs at the same time. And I don't believe it's overstating to say that tensions are pretty high right now in the organization. So we're looking and working with the auditor to see if we can do some type of appreciation to recognize the work of staff. But we are going to have to work through what is a challenging implementation. Implementations on the best day are challenging. It's like moving to a new house. There's things are in different places. You have to do things differently. But in this situation, because of the nature of it starting and stopping to no fault of anyone, just the way things worked out, because of the pandemic and other things that we couldn't control, there is a high level of strain on the team. And so we're going to be working with the directors. I'm saying that for you as commissioners because as I have started to work in the organization, a lot of the capacity of our teams are tied up with the training. Some of them are in meetings all day long, are being asked to do things all day long, in addition to their workload. And so I commend the team, but I would say that as we look down the road, there's additional work that has to be done for us in order to implement well, because innovation is part of an organization's growth and development, and that's where we have to get to. But there's a lot of work that it takes, which equates to resources on training, on process development, things that our current team may not have the ability to do And so we're gonna do after action on this to do lessons learned, because there, as Sherry has informed me, there's a number of other systems that we have to integrate and change over. But we just can't do business this way and it be sustainable for our organization and our people. So to the department directors, I want to thank you. And we're not done leading through some of the challenges. And what I'll say is the work that wasn't done leading up to this, we're gonna have to do it after the fact, because the system does have to work for us in our workflow. That'll be our commitment, and I know that we'll be getting together shortly to have that conversation. But thank you, Sherry, for your leadership, Robin, Nicole, and others. I know there's a lot that you're working through on a daily basis.
IT?
That's IT.
I got one question. Go ahead, Commissioner Hughes.
Oh, I was just gonna really give a shout out to Sherry, because the amount of systems that we're in the process of either in the middle of it, towards the end of it, or about to start is absolutely insane. We're hearing about this whole ERP system, right, that has taken up so much staff time, it's taken up so much resources. But then there's also the sheriffs, and then there's also the body cams, and then, starting up is the assessors and treasurer system. And this takes up a lot of resources and capacity from Sherry herself, who is monitoring all these different system upgrades. And, thank you so much for all of your hard work of working through all of these bumps, because I know it's taken a lot from your office and your department to work through all the different contracts and implementations of all these systems. So just big props to your department, because I know.
That's all your kind words.
Did you have a question, Commissioner Edwards?
You mentioned something about the jails working together,
The police department or the LEOs are working together.
and, did the tribe get included in that?
I will have to follow up with that. I don't think that they did. I don't think so. Like Nisqually, you mean? I know they have a jail, but
Yeah.
I'll follow up and find out. I know the consortium, they brought that request to you like 3 or 4 years ago to join the consortium, and I don't believe the Nisqually tribe was included.
Chehalis has a jail as well.
Chehalis has a jail?
So when you were ticking through the cities that are involved in this project, is there anybody that's not part of it? It's
Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Tenino, and
yeah.
Yelm.
Okay.
And Thurston County. And that consortium has existed for quite a while. You probably know more about than I do. But I guess when we implemented ADAMS, or when they implemented their last jail or records management system, Thurston County did not participate. But this time around, they opted to try to follow up and participate, and then brought that to the board, and the board approved it, so.
And then as we transition to the next director, Patrick, I might call on you as a part of your report to kind of say, if you can, say what that integrated system's gonna mean to the justice system. I mean, what's the value of having because I think you were part of this. Do you have some knowledge about kind of what that's gonna bring to the sheriffs and the law enforcement in terms of the justice system, having that integrated system?
Sure, yeah,
Because it's been a while since the board's talked about that
It's a long time
system.
ago.
yeah.
It started up years ago.
Yeah, sure, happy to. Patrick, good morning, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor, Public Defense. So on that topic, just tremendous amount of efficiencies, right, is really what we're looking at as we, at various points having conversations with myself and the prosecuting attorney's office and the sheriff and others. We can all do sort of gap analysis on inefficiencies in the justice system, and some of them have to do with the sharing of law enforcement, police reports, things of that nature with the prosecutor's office, with the court. So I think they're all excited to replace this legacy system. I think the end users are excited because we can hopefully be more efficient and timely. So, not to speak for the prosecutors, but, they're receiving daily information 6 ways a Sunday, depending on the law enforcement agency and the timing, et cetera. So I can't speak to all the benefits of it. I just know that, for years now, at various conversations I've had with, the sheriff and former sheriff and John Thunheim, we have recognized that what the benefits would be of a consortium system. Again, I can't speak intelligently about all the ins and outs of that, but yeah, I think there's huge benefits for the entire justice system and a big return on investment, right, downstream return on investment for the justice stakeholders. So a couple of updates to share. Don't have any new updates on the potential changes to the standards of public defense. I think as we spoke a couple meetings ago, those will be going out for public comment from the state Supreme Court to adopt into court rule. So offer still stands. If happy to collaborate with the board on any issues or positions, please feel free to just reach out. But no updates there just yet, but more to come. We've been gearing up and working with Rick Thomas and Tom Stremke, taking a look at Building 4, doing an analysis of space and particularly really furniture. So I'm not necessarily qualified to do the best job on furniture needs and assessing existing furniture for the move, but we are trying to do that as best as possible with the plans for the remodel and what existing furniture that we have now. To be candid, some of that furniture that we have now will fall apart if we try to move it, so I'm not going to do too much moving, but trying to get a better assessment of what our needs will be in that regard. Obviously, I'm constantly checking in. We're at the midpoint of the year on caseloads, right, for public defense. That drives our work and drives our expense and has a significant impact on staff. So continuing to monitor cases. We had a real high month last month in adult superior court. Our adult felony caseload was about 40 cases more last month than any month year to date. And this month is timing up with an issue that I'm sure you're all familiar with, is pursuit laws in Washington changing and that becoming a priority for law enforcement. Understandably, I'm not disagreeing with the policy. I'm just trying to prepare for the impacts if we see increases in felony arrests and our capacity to represent those individuals. So continuing to monitor that, working with Nicole and her team on mid-year budget reviews. I think we have some meetings coming up. We're in pretty good shape right now, even despite the $400,000 budget reduction. But again, that's tied to cases, et cetera. But looking forward to that conversation. My team's working in training on the TC Connect. So I appreciate all the efforts there. I'm sure we're all going through the same thing, especially the recruitment portion. So as they're explaining that to me, I'm having them explain it more than once, how that works. But I do think one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to is understanding the capability of when we're out recruiting, how we can boost those postings, right? How we can get those postings, because at least speaking for myself, we've had a lot of success in boosting our postings off government jobs.com into like Indeed and other recruiters. We've had a lot of success, big return on investment there for, at least for us, because we really are in a recruiting world where we're recruiting individuals outside the state of Washington and had good success in that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. Obviously juggling summer schedules, and I'm sure we all are, when this is the time where we really put, I think, our money where our mouth is sometimes, at least in my department, in encouraging employee mental health and well-being and taking time off. And there's no better place in the world, in my opinion, to do that than the Pacific Northwest in the summer. But it takes a lot of coordination, and our supervisors step up so their staff can take some time off with their families, and we get the work done. And I'll probably be back before the board at the end of the summer with the state of department. We'll work with staff on scheduling that.
Thank you, Patrick. Are you fully staffed currently, especially with the attorneys? I know other counties are struggling with recruitment, and so I'm wondering, we heard from you previously that, you had been able to hire all those positions, and so just wondering, how are you in that sense currently?
Yeah, we've been in pretty good shape. We're out recruiting for a sort of an added position to our department. That was a state funded grant. We did lose an attorney to the city of Olympia for a 33% salary increase. Now, he didn't want to leave, but he's got a young family, and that's a big increase for them. So we're remaining pretty competitive, but we also know that we're competing against our neighbors to the north and to the south. And but we've been pretty successful. Again, that's why this recruitment effort, I think, and maybe naively, and Maria maybe has an expert opinion on this, I think this part of the country just becomes more and more attractive. Maybe the county manager agrees with me on that.
Here.
But I think that, for us, again, that's really our competitive edge is geographically where we live, the community in which we live in, and still seeing a lot of flight from King County, but just people moving here from out of state. So we've been pretty successful, knock on wood. But yeah, not to jinx it, but.
All right, thanks. Carrie Hennon, Pretrial Services. Speaking of fully staffed, as of today, knock wood, pretrial is fully staffed. New pretrial officer onboarding today. We onboarded our Resource Hub Operations Coordinator a couple weeks ago. So I'm really excited about our current staff team and kind of our configuration. I was just saying to Maria how valuable the reclass that was approved earlier this year has been to us, how valuable our new admin position is. So excited about the staff team and assuming we can stay fully staffed, not only doing our work, but something I've observed about my department, coming from one of the county's largest departments to the county's smallest department, just how sort of little kind of infrastructure, policy, et cetera, we have at pretrial. And I think the current staff team and configuration is going to allow us to focus on building a little bit of structure in our department as we have grown considerably over the past few years. So excited about that. Lots of great stuff going on at the Resource Hub. We had an event in May that was very well attended. Thank you, commissioners, for coming and other partners in this room. Kind of a brainstorming event, lots and lots of really great ideas, many of which are actionable, some of which are longer term. So we're working through all of that, also working on kind of a parallel discussion with visitors to the hub about what services and strategies would meet visitors' needs more effectively. Expanded hub hours will begin the first week in August, so excited about that. Like Patrick's team, we are following the courthouse remodel discussions with great interest and excited to move forward with that. Working a bit with Rick and Tom on kind of changes from pretrial's perspective, changes in the security approach affect us in Building 1 with the direction of Building 1 not being screened. So more conversation to come about that. That probably covers it for pretrial. Thank you.
Questions for Carrie? Thank you. Let's go to HR.
Maria Fonte, HR Director. Since we're short on time, keeping it high level, my team is really very involved in the TC Connect, so that's where the majority of our focus has been. Just to put in perspective, I've got the compensation and benefits team. They're on the payroll benefits side. I have recruitment, multiple staff, trying to build depth in who can use the system. The learning management system as well, and safety. So that's really comprises about 80% of the team. On the personnel side, second interviews for the risk analyst position that was vacated by Brian Bishop when he was promoted. So that's good news. Bad news is our HR assistant position is vacant. Good for her, she was able to get a promotion elsewhere. And with all of this, we're working on our rates presentation for you in July. So with that, I'll take any pressing questions that you
Pressing questions for Maria? No. Bruce?
Morning, Bruce Orba, Acting Central Services Director. Also, in the interest of time, I'll just hit a couple of highlights. I'll reiterate the same thing that the other people have been saying as far as we're very busy with TC Connect. We have procurement, projects team is very involved in conversion. In addition to their normal keeping projects moving, facilities has been responding to emergent issues, and actually on the 24th of this month, they're going to have a kickoff with Brightly. That is the asset management program that was approved. All the assets are enrolled, and they'll be learning how to use the system, both the forecast replacement and maintenance. Unless there are any other questions?
Another system to
Yes.
manage and launch.
Try to keep them all straight.
Yeah, it really is. Any questions for Bruce from anywhere? No, thank you, Bruce. Ben?
Okay, Ben Miller Todd, Emergency Services. From the emergency management side, thank you very much for your attendance at the executive seminar last week. It was very well attended by this group and we really appreciate it. One of the key topics that was brought up that will make part of the fireworks conversation, I say poignant, is that a shift in weather patterns may be coming a little faster than sooner, and so we'll be keeping an eye on that as we make our recommendations moving forward. So just
Shift in what direction?
we've been in an El Nino pattern. We're shifting potentially into La Nina, which would be a little bit cooler and a little bit wetter instead of a little bit hotter and a little bit drier. And so they don't know exactly how quickly this shift will happen, and so that's making some of the predictions a little bit 50-50 in terms of how that proceeds over the summer. So more to come on that component, and that was part of the discussion at the executive seminar. And we're also going through the CEMP. As a quick update from the Medic One side, this is the fun side. Not that EM isn't, I didn't correct that. It is fun with this new initiative called POCUS. And so that's really easy one to remember, but it's point of care ultrasound. If you remember about 12 months ago, you did approve the purchase of ultrasounds for the field. We're just getting through all of that training and implementation going into the summer. And so all 85 of our medics have been trained as of July of this year. Our residents have been seeing POCUS or point of care ultrasound used in the field. And this is also helping to more quickly identify some of the illnesses in the field to report back to the hospital and speed up treatment. And so this is something that I like to call out. We don't like to be on the bleeding edge of any initiative, but we want to be on the cutting edge. And with that, that's something that this initiative is one of the most robust protocols we have in the field nationwide that we've been able to find. And so for us, that's a point of accolade as we move into our 50th year, is making sure we're staying on the forefront. And this is something that helps keep us there in the treatment of Thurston County residents. With that, we've also finished up our AED deployments, 12 different agencies and 140 different fire apparatus. And now we get to rinse and repeat and update all of the tablets in the system over that same number. And so we'll be doing that over the summer. Lastly, I want to call out the EMT graduates. 24 graduated last night. It was very well attended at Heritage Hall. It was an excellent space. We actually had standing room only. We went from about 100 we expected to 175, 200 with the graduates included. And so it was very, very well attended, and we want to call out those graduates moving forward in their careers.
Cool. Anything for Ben?
Did you take a picture?
We did take a lot of pictures.
Sure,
The focus issue, does ALS and BLS have that
Focus.
capability?
POCUS or focus?
Focus, yeah.
POCUS for point of care ultrasound, and it is ALS only at this point in time. So, and we anticipate it staying ALS in perpetuity.
Okay.
I've heard, like, you know, you understand all these things. You know, we've got a publicly funded ALS system, and then that is through the county, and then we've got a BLS system that's funded a little differently. And some of the BLS agencies have started charging for transport and stuff like that. But the ALS agencies are not allowed to by contract with us, or they haven't. But I've heard talk of some of the ALS agencies wanting to do fee-for-service with their BLS transports. And then that would, in my mind, bring up potential conflict in the way the system works and how it's nobody would make decisions based on revenue. But when you open up the door to that type of world, it inevitably kind of thoughts bleed in, you know, like when you start operating based on a business model instead of just a solely care model. So are some of the ALS agencies talking about that? And is that, what's Medic One's stance on that kind of thing?
I'm gonna be pretty candid with you on this one. That conversation isn't quite ready for prime time, since there are so many different influencing factors, whether it's regulatory framework, whether it's political framework, whether it's the social framework. In terms of the county, all those components need to be discussed and come to a conclusion to kind of bundle and have it ready for prime time. So we're not quite ready for that conversation. When I say quite, I mean probably 12 months plus out as we work through all of those different questions. And so I don't have a clear answer for you right now.
Way on the beginning of that discussion, and that makes me feel better.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I would say, from that conversation standpoint, I'm gonna defer kind of taking a position, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
And maybe we talk more about
Yep.
it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good morning, Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. 2 items. The first is some HR stats. This is as of yesterday. We have filled 42 positions. 43% of those have been filled with promotions within the department. And we are currently sitting at a 10.5% vacancy rate right now.
Is that down from last time you reported it?
It's a little bit lower, It equates to 23 positions within the department. And then lastly, I wanted to just report out on the rodeo. Thank Commissioner Klaus and Commissioner Edwards for attending and participating. I'm going to report out on our operators, and the overall winner was Logan Steffen, and Logan will have, he will have the opportunity to compete at the state rodeo in Kennewick this October, and we also send each of our top winners for each of the individual events as well. So Brandon Clemens, Dawson Padelco, John Williams, and Cole Mullenix will all each have an opportunity to show off their skills and represent themselves in Thurston County at the rodeo in October.
Awesome. That's the state one?
That's the state
And
one.
there's a national one too.
Yes, and so if they, depending on how they do at state, then we will support them going to.
County, I know, when I first got on the board, like intercity transit people won the national or went to national, and I think county, we've sent someone to national too, right?
Yes, and actually we're sending 2 people to national this year from the results of last year's competition.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's go to public health.
All right, thank you for having me, and Jennifer Eihite, Interim Director of PHSS. So thank you. I am committed to continue moving the department forward and getting everyone rowing in the same direction. So a week and a half in, but I do have just a couple of updates now that I've listened and learned. We are really focusing right now on our safety processes internally, and so we're having a lot of internal trainings coming up, such as de-escalation, human trafficking, trauma-informed care, mental health first aid, all of those sorts of things with our staff. Lots coming up in the next 2 months. And we have several external things. We have 2 back-to-school immunization clinics planned, one mid-August, one mid-September. Our new bereavement support group is starting this month. Monthly homeowner septic self-inspection certification continues. Healthy home and yard workshops, we have a couple of those coming up this summer, and many, many special recreation programs, from dances in the arcade and bowling and all of that everyone's welcome to come. So those are our external facing trainings, and yeah, that's about it.
Questions for Jen?
Or just a comment, I can't remember what platform I saw it on, but there was an advertisement for those special recreation events. That was great. It was really informative and really that outreach to get people to participate. So I don't remember, again, what platform it was on, but it was, I learned a lot from just reading that I didn't even know. So good job to you and your team. Yep.
County Manager, anything you want to cover?
Yeah, just wanted to introduce, although I think she went up to get a meeting started, but Tina Champion in that empty seat. New executive assistant, so department directors, if you don't mind just me popping up and saying hi to her. If you haven't already, make her feel welcomed. Appreciate that interaction. We're looking forward to getting her on board.
Cool. And then Linda Zeman, who you may probably know from other work in the county, but she's my new assistant, so yeah, trying to reach out to me, you'll be hearing from Linda, so. Thank you. Anything from commissioners? No, appreciate all you guys' time.
Sir, Mayor.
Nicole.
Yes, Nicole.
Report out on the budget office very quickly.
Sorry, forgot the budget office.
The reason for this is that I really want to give a lot of attention to the two management analysts that I have on the team, so that's Dolly and Jennifer. They're really holding down the fort. There is a number of things that we're working on, and it's with a team of two. And so one of those things is the Amendment 1 that we're going to bring before you on June 18th for the adoption. So they're working on that too to bring that information before you. Also, I'd like to bring out that we're working on the kickoff, so the budget kickoff for the new cycle for the midterm, and that's called a budgets, and that is June 27th. So coordinating all that information as far as where we are with the general fund and all our other major funds and what those directions will be, they're in the process of putting that information together too, simultaneously while putting together a new budget system. And so right now, they're inside of training. We are kicking off the budget module training. They have been really holding it down, meaning that they are able to, as Patrick mentioned, to get information together for the monthly meetings with all the departments and offices, as well as in training all day to be able to help with the system and get it going, and then also putting together your amendment. So I just really want to bring a lot of attention to what the two of them are able to do. They work as a team of 10, and I'm very proud to be working with them, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Also, we are in the process of recruiting. We have a senior management analyst position that you awarded us during the amendment, during the biennium, and so we'll be having interviews next week on that, so that's really hopeful. We have 4 candidates that we'll be interviewing, and they all look really good, so that was really great. Also, we were awarded an intern, so we're in the process of trying to get an intern in as well to help out with some of the efforts, so that's great. And then I think that's it, so thank you.
On your call to budget, you coordinate that with the county auditor?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
Yes, so that is what I mentioned there. I have a meeting starting at 12 with Diana Benson to continue working on the MOU, so that's great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We're adjourned.